Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott. I've got with me this morning co-host Todd Chapman and special guest Boaz Ashkenazy. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
It is absolutely awesome. Boaz is an emerging voice on the future of work and leveraging AI into business operations. As CEO and co-founder of Simply Augmented AI, Boaz is building an Gen AI first company with the mission of helping businesses leverage the power of generative AI to solve hard business problems and accelerate productivity and growth. He is also the host of the Shift AI podcast, which explores how AI and ML, that's machine learning, is changing the way that we work in the digital age through interviews with thought leaders who are redefining how businesses and employees will be impacted by emerging technology. His expertise includes product development, design thinking, and building enterprise productivity tools from his time at Meta. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, good to be here with you guys.
Thanks for making that easy for me. Could you tell I read that? Or did I knock that out of the park?
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Drilled it.
You know, the thing is, if you get we're talking about AI, if you get a shot of my face, you can actually feed that script into my face.
That's true.
Right? And
it's getting better and better.
Dude, it's so realistic. It's so realistic, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are screwing around in here, our team. I like to call it screwing around. I'm paying them to screw around. I'm just kidding. And they're like, Dave, we're going to show you something. And Donald's like, are you sure we should show it to him? And Ralph's like, yes, I'm sure. Why are we doing the Batman
I don't know.
voice?
I'm just thinking, when are they both become Batman?
This is the Batman voice. Because it's AI.
That's right.
In AI, I can be Batman.
That's great.
And so they give this script, and they're talking about my favorite hockey team, which is the Boston Bruins. So for all the people who are out there tracking that, there you go, Boston Bruins. They make this whole script about how I don't like the Boston Bruins, but they are using my voice.
Yeah.
They put it into an AI machine, and it sounds like 95% just like me.
Yep. I mean, think about the deep fakes that are going to happen across industry, politics, media. It's going to get real.
The biggest one that I see, this is the one that drives me nuts. As a guy who's always trying to lose weight, okay, it's my lifelong mission to lose weight. Neither of you have that problem. Congratulations for you. As that's my problem, I'm always looking at is there a real magic pill out there that I could take that would help me lose weight, that would help me control my cravings? I'm not taking the shot. I'm not doing lap band surgery. I'm not doing any of those type of things, right? So there's the Shark Tank. Sure you're familiar with it. And they've got Lori, who's, one of the popular guests on the show. And they have, CBD gummies, right? So these CBD gummies are supposed to help you lose weight. Okay, so what they've done is they've taken Lori and they've taken Mr. Wonderful and they've taken pictures of their face and they've put their words into them, and they say, I'm Lori from the Shark Tank, and I absolutely believe and 100% guarantee that these CBD gummies are going to create you to lose weight and get your free bottle now and blah, blah, blah. And they man, this thing is so real. And they've built the back end on the websites and with Mr. Wonderful. And I was like, I was on the order page. I'm there. I'm thinking, because they're like 50 pounds in 1 month. I'm like, yes, this solved all my problems. You know, I can go to the beach this summer, but I'm going to the beach anyways. But regardless of that, I'm like, I'm almost there, but the mouth just, something isn't right with it. It's just, it's almost perfect, but it's just not there. And so I start researching, you know, fake CBD, fake this, fake that. Come to find out, the whole thing is fake.
Yeah.
But I'm getting pumped with tons of just ads on this every single day on Facebook, whether it's Mr. Wonderful or it's Lori or Mark Cuban. I mean, it's just like their face is being, and it's so believable.
I know. It's amazing. And I think it's going to be something that we're going to have to deal with. So in the sense of consumerism, you know, that's going to be an issue, but there's also going to be election fraud. There's going to be all sorts of stuff. There's some companies right now, some of them in this area that are doing some things that are trying to combat that.
So tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Boaz. I'm the CEO of Simply Augmented. I spent most of my career as a co-founder of startups, pretty small companies from Los Angeles, but moved to Seattle to study at the University of Washington. And then I got a chance to work at Facebook, which while I was there, changed its name to Meta. And we were building a lot of internal tools for employees to help them be more efficient. Wow. And it was really a lot of fun. We had a great team, and one of those people left with me a year ago from Meta and is with me now, and we're starting a company to help other companies deal with their internal workflows. It's been a lot of fun.
And what are you doing? What does that mean? What are you doing for other businesses?
Yeah. So, you know, right now where Gen AI is, there's a lot of questions about how this fits into what businesses are doing. And the primary thing that we do is help businesses identify where Gen AI fits into their existing workflows. And we can talk more about that, but there's some special things about large language models that a lot of people have been hearing about and what they're able to do that's different than what software was able to do 2 years ago. And it was really with the advent of ChatGPT that all of a sudden the writing software became different. And it was through these large language models, and there's amazing things that you can do. And we look at businesses and say, where does Gen AI fit? And then we stand those up, and we stand those solutions, and then we deploy.
That's awesome. So I think of AI, like I'm going to make this podcast totally personal because I don't know. There's so many things happening in AI. I mean, it's just crazy. You start to look at it all around you, but one of the biggest things we have in our business is facilities maintenance, facilities management, snow removal. Let's just say snow removal. You know, we have to map every parking lot.
Right.
You know, and so like we look at a budget at the beginning of the year, and for all the map vendors out there, I won't share the budget, but it's a big number.
Yeah.
And we have to go out there, and now we have to pay a third-party company to map out our properties within the proper boundary lines.
Yeah.
And now we have to get those maps. They have to be right. We have to give them to our crews or our contractors or whatnot. And it seems to me that like that kind of thing is got to be on the top of the radar for AI.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that's interesting is, you know, most of us, because of ChatGPT, think about Gen AI as very text-based.
Yeah.
Ask a question, get an answer, create a poem, and so on. But these large language models are good at images, really good at understanding images. And I'll give you an example. We're working with an architect, and part of the job is to figure out how to help them QA and QC drawings and drawing sets, okay? And what's unbelievable is that you can show a series of images to a large language model, have them understand those images and descriptions of those images and text, and be able to assess, you know, what are the criteria that you need to measure these images by. It can really understand elements of these images. So your mapping example is a great one, because you're not going to get it 100% right, but you're going to understand those maps in the same way that a human would if they were looking at them.
Yeah.
And make decisions based on those, pricing based on those, all the things that you do. And this was just not possible before the computer vision was far enough advanced to be able to kind of see into these drawings and these diagrams in the way that they are right now. And that's just amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. What do you think, like for most small business owners out there and the services that you guys are providing, obviously, what problems, bottlenecks, workflows do you think are the most solvable? Because I think for the common person, obviously we're talking about AI, and I think we've done a little bit more research maybe than the normal person, maybe or maybe not.
Yeah.
But I think it's so it's still a little bit unknown. Or, maybe they know Chat GPT, maybe they've used it a little bit. But what problems are the most solvable for that just that small business owner out there? Most of our audiences, are involved in that. I mean, where do you see that in the companies you've worked with?
I think it's starting to consolidate around a few different things. And one of them, like the standard one that you hear a lot, is conversational AI. And where we're going to see that show up as consumers is in customer service. So think about all the times that you've had a question that needed to get answered, and it required you getting on the phone with somebody that took a long time to get back to you, or a automated phone service where you had to press a bunch of buttons as you make your way through the decision tree. Now you have the opportunity to ask those questions and get them answered, whether you're calling an airline or whether you're calling, cable or whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing at how good it is to getting you back those answers. So I think we're going to see a revolution in terms of customer service. The other thing that we're starting to see, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't think about when they think about Gen AI, but Gen AI does a really, really good job of understanding unstructured data. And unstructured data takes the form of a PDF file or a transcript of a conversation or an email or any text-based, and being able to take that and bring it into your business and turn it into a very structured form. And so you think all right, well, how's that helping me in my business? Here's an example. We have a customer that is a self-directed IRA company, and they are asking their customers for documents. They get a ton of documents, lots of different forms, lots of different form factors. And right now, people read those and make sense of those and then bring them into the business and fill out forms and put them into structured databases. All of a sudden now, you have the ability for that to happen with an AI, with a computer, and take away a lot of the heavy lifting that either a customer had to do to fill out a form or an employee had to do to fill out a form. And now all of a sudden, it's bringing it into your workflows. So it's really automating a lot of tedious things that were part of the normal part of the manual parts of your business and freeing people up with time. And I think that's a big one. The third one, which I think is a fascinating one, is it allows you to bring data closer to people in the business that are making decisions. And that's a fascinating one. We are working with a commercial real estate company that has brokers that know how to ask all the right questions, but they don't know how to get it out of the database. And typically what they would do is walk over to a data scientist and say, hey, this is the question that I'm asking. Will you help me get the data? And then that data scientist would help them and visualize that data for them. Now they can use natural language to ask the question. And a perfect example of that is a broker that says, in Detroit right now, how many properties have 10,000 square feet that are available and one of those leases up? That's the question. Now it can go authenticate into a huge database and get that answer back to them in seconds. I think that's super powerful when you bring that data to the decision.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind always I can get so off track here. But another thing that I've heard is that melanoma is a very serious cancer.
Yep.
Is a very serious form of cancer. And there was a trial that came out of Europe, and they had AI looking at melanoma.
Yeah.
And they had doctors looking at melanoma. And the doctors with the experience were correct in identifying melanoma, I want to say 55% of the time. And the AI was correct 95% of the time.
It's amazing. Well, it goes back to your computer vision example that you gave with maps.
Yeah.
And I think that it allows for a lot more variation. You're seeing this with drug discovery too.
It's going to change. I mean, it feels like we're going to change healthcare forever. Let's go back to weight loss thing,
Yeah.
right? When we look at AI can pull our DNA, right? Like we're looking at our DNA. I'm drawing little DNA strands for the audience, just so you know. I feel like I'm in the Jurassic Park movie where they're talking about DNA.
The mosquito.
No, but listen, like the button, the DNA, the chromosome, whatever it might be that's inside of me that says stop burning this fat and start burning this fat is just turned off. I just need to turn it on. Right?
Yeah.
And like that's the kind of science, that's the kind of availability that I'm kind of clunky in speaking through this, but like what we're going to be able to do is just insane, right? Like we're able to identify cancers better than doctors. We're able to, you look at our DNA, we're able to make changes to our bodies to make us live better. And if you go back to the late, 1800s, the average life expectancy was about 40 years.
Yeah.
So we would all in this room probably be dead 120 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the life expectancy is like what, 84, 85?
Right.
Okay. I'm saying it right here. I'm shooting to live to 120.
You know, I think that you're not going to be far off. I really do think you're right.
120.
Yeah.
Not drooling in my wheelchair.
That's the challenge. Yeah.
Right? But like it's all about this health. It's not only embracing AI for what it can do for your business. It's like, how am I embracing it for my body?
my life,
How am I using AI? Like, I mean, I'm not going to talk smack about all the food producers out there, but all they're doing is poisoning us. So, you know, like I've got this app, this Yucca app on my phone, right? Like we can go in and like we go to the store and we scan everything,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm telling my wife all the time, like, man, listen, I want to eat healthy. I don't want to eat this garbage. I don't want this garbage that you give me all the time. You're poisoning me. I tell her this. You're poisoning me with this food. So I love nachos.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys love nachos?
Yeah.
nachos
It's not
too.
the love.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not love nachos, right? So we all love nachos except for Ralph. He didn't. Okay, he loves nachos. So I said, listen, here's what I want you to do. Go to the store and I want you to get all app-approved products. Because we call them app-approved products, it means they're just good for you. There's none of these extra things in there.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, what about the cheese? I'm like, yes, buy the app-approved cheese. You know, you get like a little square. I'm talking like that big, right? Like that. It's like the size of a wallet. Okay. Just put it in perspective. That's like $18. And she's like, it just doesn't melt right. It doesn't look right. I'm like, listen, get it. It's going to be healthy. So she goes in, you know, she gets the healthy meat. She gets the healthy chicken. She gets the healthy jalapenos. She gets, you know, the healthy cheese, the healthy refried beans, all of the things. And even if it sells organic, sometimes those are the worst things for you, but you got to scan, you got to be very careful. So these nachos probably cost us $385. I mean, I'm not
been
joking.
good.
I'm not joking you. But I'm going to tell you what, man, here's the thing. The nachos were off the charts. They were. Now you imagine going into the grocery store and you're looking for what's healthy. You go into Whole Foods. I'm not saying anything bad about Whole Foods, but you go and scan the food in Whole Foods. 90% of it's bad for you. I'm just going to tell you, you're not getting a better product by going there. We go to Fred Meyer. You're going to get good quality going to Fred Meyer. It's going to be half the cost of Whole Foods or whatever it is. Like, I'm just telling you, you go in there and you scan it. That's partly this AI that we're talking about. It's telling me what's good for my body. And I'll tell you what, you eat those nachos, good nachos, you're full the rest of the night. You don't need to go back in the kitchen and snack. You don't need to go back later and get a second plate of nachos. But I'll tell you what, in the words of my friend Todd Chapman, I'm going to crush some Taco Bell. If we go crush some Taco Bell, like we're going to be starving 2 hours after we ate it.
Yeah, empty calories.
So it's the quality, right? The AI is helping us put quality into our life.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I like that that you kind of bring the positive aspects of AI and the future, kind of the optimistic future of AI, because there's a lot of narrative I'm sure that you guys are
Skynet.
reading about, that is either the AI robot is going to take over humanity,
robot,
like
yeah.
that's one train of thought, or that AI is going to take my job.
Yep.
And I think that there are some things to be protecting against, but I also share the kind of optimistic view of what AI can do for our society, which I think is powerful, and for each other, and for ourselves.
That is such a good topic. So I always hate these kind of podcasts because I have employees. You know what I mean? So like, it's such a pain. But I'm going to tell you something. This is my belief. I love everybody to have a job. I love people to work. I love them to get paid. I love them to take care of their families. None of that is out here. But I also believe that, the employee, gosh, so rough, is not really committed to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're committed to the best experience for their life, right? And because we live in I'll say, experience-driven time of life, like I've never in my life heard so many people say, oh man, I want that experience. I want to travel here. I want this experience. I want to go watch this and this experience. I'm going to work here for this experience. I'm going to go climb this mountain for this experience. Like, we have the world at our fingertips. And I think everything that we see on social media every day, everything that we see on TV, everything around us, like, I can literally do things that my parents could never imagine doing. Like, the level of experiences that can be lived and determined. It's like, we have this life of experiences. And I think that not for everyone, but for a lot of people, like, do I really care about my business? Do I really care about the business? I think I was reading in the Wall Street Journal that it was either Wall Street Journal or Forbes magazine, but the latest employee satisfaction surveys they were talking about was 66% of employees were disenchanted or disengaged with the business that they worked at. That's such a huge number.
That's a big number.
And they coined that back, and they brought it back, and they said, part of it is the isolation, right? Like,
especially these days,
remote working, right? You do not have a connection with your employer. Like, the days of working at the steel mill and then all of your buddies, going out to the bar afterwards and hanging out and having a good time because those are your guys, is gone. I want to say hi to all the guys down at the shop. That doesn't happen. I'm not going to get on the phone and say, I want to say hi to all the guys down at Amazon. Nobody would say that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. And then we've made communication like so much more difficult through all of the different platforms. Like, people here will hit me on Teams. I'm not turning Teams on. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Why don't you respond to me? Because I'm not working on Teams. I'm not working on Slack. I'm not working on any of those platforms that you want to talk to me on. I already have 3 freaking cell phones. I've got 3 forms of text messages, 3 forms of phone calls. I've got 3 email addresses. Like, stop. I will never own an Apple Watch. Anybody who owns an Apple Watch, no dissing. I will never own an Apple Watch. I know. I know. I know. But we are so connected all the time. And so like, I think that plays a big part in it. But I also think that a lot of the jobs that are going away are jobs that it's okay to go away, and we're going to make other jobs.
I agree. I think it'll evolve.
I
think that's true.
I think that's what I think anyways. I was going through the airport last Monday, and I'm in the cleaning business. And so like, I'm going through the airport, right? And I almost get hit by what? A machine cleaning the floors without a human on it. It stopped. It didn't, it didn't even come close to hitting me, right? But it was coming in my general direction. So I can exaggerate a little bit. But at the end of the day, like, imagine 5 years ago or something, that entire airport floor was being cleaned by somebody riding that machine.
Oh yeah.
So how much labor is being saved? How much cost is being reduced? We look at this stuff all over the place. And then in the trades, how many jobs are we short? Like, we can't hire good janitors enough. Well, probably because we can't pay them enough. Like a janitor's not going to make $25 an hour. And like, to me, you say $25 an hour. So, oh, that's not too bad. To somebody who's working for $25 an hour, they're like, you're killing me. I can't even buy cheese for my nachos, you know? But I think like some of that stuff, man, is just, it's those hard to fill jobs, those entry level jobs, like working at Burger King, working at Taco Bell, McDonald's, being a janitor, being a landscaper. I think these are entry level jobs. I don't think these aren't jobs that is meant to be your entire career.
Sure.
You know, like you should be leveling up. And I think it's going to make education as important. I think we're going to have more jobs in healthcare. We're going to have more jobs in data analytics. We're going to have, you know, more jobs in the robotic factories, making the factories. Look at what we're doing with space. We're going to have more people going to space. China's on a crazy mission to space.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're going crazy with space. Elon Musk is going crazy with space. So I think the world is just changing. I don't know. What do you think? I've said so much there.
I think that I think you're right, but I also think that we're going to see companies that are punching above their weight. I think you're going to see smaller companies that are more productive, that are growing faster without letting go of people, but with keeping the team size as it is. And I think that's exciting. Like you think about some of the big acquisitions that happened in the last 10 years of small teams, and you think, gosh, how did they create that kind of value?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to start seeing that. Now, I think some jobs are going to go away, and that is just the truth of it. But I agree with you. I think there's going to be new roles that people have that we don't have right now that are going to come up that are really interesting, and that people are going to be educated to take advantage of this AI. I always say that, you know, AI is not going to take your job, but it's your colleague who knows how to use AI that's going to take your job.
I love that. And, you know, I think about it like this. You know, I am in a very manual industry. My business, my main business.
Yeah.
I plow snow. I do janitorial services. I mow lawns, right? I'm just a maintenance guy. And at the end of the day, all of that functionality, all of that service, I believe in the next 3 to 5 years, I believe is 100% replaced.
With some sort of automation.
Some sort of automation. That's right.
We see that with the equipment already. I mean, that's been developed over the last several years, right? I mean, you mentioned the robotic cleaner.
The robotic
mowers.
That's a good metaphor.
But robotic mowers have been out there for for a few years now, you know. And I mean, we even talked about this recently, but loaders, right? I mean, and big heavy equipment.
Those are
for
big
different,
tractors,
big tractors, you know, that are going to be, you know, manually either remotely ran, right, or potentially autonomous.
I was just
that's
at a
huge revolution.
at a meeting, and I was talking to a venture capitalist who had just invested in an agricultural company that was able to use lasers to kill weeds. It's a huge, huge problem. And they attach this to tractors.
There's a company doing this there's a company doing this in Redmond. Is this
Redmond. It might be the same one. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name of that company, but I was shocked by how precise they were about killing these weeds.
Oh my God. Listen, it must have been, I keep saying listen, but it's like 18 months ago, I must have read a full article on this in the Puget Sound Business Journal. And it was talking about a company out of Redmond who's developing robotics to completely eliminate weeds and landscape bed maintenance.
Incredible.
I mean, just
It's amazing.
It's the thing is, we have to look at our businesses differently. You know, I've been in business for over 20 years now, and you know, I think that so many people, they look around and they say, "Oh, you've been in business forever. You've got it made." You know, this is like nothing. You know, don't screw your business up and run it like an idiot now, or whatever they might say, or whatever. And I think that the longer you've been in business, the more you are archaic, and the more you better pay attention.
Yeah,
the more you better wake up. And you better be doing everything you can to invest in AI. You better be using ChatGPT. You better be, I don't know, you've got to be working with amazing people like you guys at Simply Augmented. You know, like how many people on the call, raise your hand if you have a chief AI officer,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One or two, minimal.
Yeah.
But that's a huge deal. We need to be having chief AI officers. We need to be thinking differently. We need to be working with Simply Augmented, and we need to be bringing guys like you into our businesses and saying, gosh, Boaz, I don't know what to do, and I don't really know what this AI thing is, but talk to me about my business and talk to me about how I can look at PDFs and make them better. Talk to me about how I can analyze data. Talk to me about what's coming. Talk to my team in marketing. Let me learn and just grasp, because on one level, it's kind of like, oh yeah, we're AI in it, we're Chat GPT in it, but that's not really it either.
That's right. And it's different for every business, and every business has a unique pain and problem to solve. And I'll tell you, when I worked at Meta, part of our job was to go from org to org and help those teams understand what their pain was and then solve their pain. And I learned that on that job, how important it is to lead with pain, not technology. And I think I do that now too. We go into these businesses, we do opportunity assessments, and we're listening for pain, trying to understand where the real value is, because ROI at the end of the day is what's important. We can take Gen AI, we can take technology and kind of attack that pain, but you have to start with value first, always.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much opportunity in customer service. There's so much opportunity in call centers. There's so much opportunities, and I'll kind of think about it like this: like, if you aren't fully embraced, if you aren't fully dialed in, if you aren't fully in with this AI revolution, I mean, this is as big as the Wright brothers and getting the first plane off the ground. What was that, 1906? This is as big as Thomas Edison and the light bulb. I mean, this is an absolutely critical moment, and there is hundreds of thousands of businesses, I would imagine, that not only jobs are going to become obsolete, but businesses are going to become obsolete.
Yeah.
There is no, you hear so many guys today, that say, I'm not going to do social media. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to keep doing it the old way. And I think now we're really at the precipice of, that's fine. Then you're going to be working for somebody like me, because that's how things are going to shape up. So I think there's like this really 3 to 5 year learning curve here that says, invest everything you can in AI, drive everything into AI. And, we'll see, like 3 to 5 years, maybe I won't be here. Maybe I'll be gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean,
if I'm not smart, I will be.
Yeah. I think you have to, it goes back to value, and strategically, if you have people in your business that are being creative and working on the business, I think that's the exciting part, and I think I was, as you know, I was part of the EO organization for a long time. And there's a lot of ethos in that organization about working on your business, not in your business. And I think that's one of the things that's so exciting for me about AI is like, let AI work in your business. Let's all work on our business and have our people work on the business. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in that.
That's great.
I agree. So someone wants to reach out to you, they want to learn more. You, I'm guessing, work with any type of business.
Yeah, we work with all sorts of businesses. We work with public and private organizations.
And what are the steps look like? How does somebody get in there? What do you do? How does that take us down that journey?
Yeah, the first thing is the website is simplyaugmented.ai.
Yep.
And you can reach out. I'm very active on LinkedIn. The podcast is shiftaipodcast.com. We could talk a little bit about that, but Shift AI is a podcast that elevates thought leaders, and we talk to a lot of interesting people in the AI space, since it's worth listening to. Those people include investors and politicians and founders and all sorts of folks. And with Simply Augmented, when you reach out to us, I'd say one of the first things we do is opportunity assessment and validation. And what I like about that process is that it's very clear. The first thing we try to figure out is who you are as a business. And we sit down and try to understand your problems and understand your pain. But what makes us different is that once we stack rank that, we are looking to see where the value is, the effort of spinning up Gen AI solutions, and the risk. And we build that matrix so that you understand, like, where is the low-hanging fruit? What should I attack first? How do I inject Gen AI into my business? And then we stand it up and we test it. We'll take your inputs, we'll run it through Gen AI, and we'll give you outputs so that before you even get started on deploying anything, you're seeing like, is this working? And we take that risk off the table. And then we put together a requirements specification so you know what it's going to cost you to stand these things up. And then we deploy and we run those systems. And so I think it's that process that allows people to understand, okay, where does this really fit for me?
Yeah. Man, that's awesome.
That's great. How do you think, I mean, one thing, because we're talking about, I mean, there's different people all around. I mean, I love like, how do we embrace and stay ahead of it? How do you think we will become conditioned to AI in some ways, whether that's from a consumer level or as a business leaders, right? Like, because there's going to be a conditioning, I think, you know, and I think part of it is just like we're going down the phone tree and you're like, it's the one, you know, now it's like people are starting to wonder like, hey, am I talking to an AI driven, and you know, and how we could become conditioned? What do you see there? You know, like as consumers, as people buying a service or a product.
I mean,
like,
I'm so focused on workers, but
yeah,
I'm already starting to see this happen. You know, right now I have a lot of people ask me to go to the AI conference or do a panel or moderate this. I think in 2 years we're not going to be talking about AI conferences. It's like, you know, when was the last time that you went to an internet conference? Right? We're not doing that.
Yeah.
And a lot of this technology is going to be so invisible, but everywhere. That's what's going to happen. And so when we open up Microsoft products or other products that we work with every single day, it's just going to be part of what we do. And I think it's that it's going to be a valuable asset, but it's just not going to be what we talk about. But it's going to be totally ubiquitous.
I love it. I love it.
That's cool.
All right, we are bringing this thing in for a landing.
Nice.
It has been a fantastic show. Final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Well, I will say that this AI revolution is coming, and it's nothing to be scared of. We need to embrace it. And I think that all of us, if we take the right approach and embrace it, are going to be better off for it.
I love that. All right, that was a fantastic show. And I think you can do yourself a favor by reaching out to Boaz and his group, simplyaugmented.ai. We'll throw that into the chat, simplyaugmented.ai. Get in front of AI. Get excited about AI. It's the way, we're not going backwards. It's like death and taxes and now AI. So we're gonna have that. Boaz is active on LinkedIn, so people can reach you out there.
LinkedIn, Twitter, X, I should say.
Twitter, X, yes. X, yeah. Let me get that right. All right, we got that X. It's simple. I'm gonna write that down. So we're on LinkedIn. We're on X. We'll throw a link. Can we throw a link into the chat with his LinkedIn? All right.
Yeah.
Follow him on LinkedIn. I'm Dave Westcott. Follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere it's social. Drop your comments into the comment box. Give us a like. Give us a share if you like the show. This was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you guys. It was great talking with you.
You're very welcome.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.